I just was on a lighter note, was just wondering what you feel the Islamic position is on music, especially classical music, but music on the whole.
Music, if we look at the whole general concept of Islam in the sense of what its purpose is. So Islam's purpose is to remind one of one's responsibility on this earth. That what have you come for? What is your purpose in life? What, you know, where were you? So the Muslims' view is that the souls were created first. And when the souls were created, they were sent down to earth into the human body, blown into the mother's womb after about sort of 4 months, rather 120 days. And then they go through earth. And as they go through their life, they've got to constantly remind themselves of returning back to God. So we have this phrase, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Indeed, we are from Allah, and to Allah is our return. So anything which reminds us of Allah, anything which reminds us of Allah, anything which reminds us of this destiny, this trip that we're going on, then we are encouraged to engage with. What generally speaking is found with regards to music is that music tends not to remind one. It tends to kind of preoccupy one with their own kind of sort of detachment from reminding oneself. So that's usually why it's frowned upon in that sense, because of the fact that it's not reminded. So, you know, the alternative is given as melodiously reciting of the Quran. So the human voice. So the human voice is something, especially when it's singing nasheed, or especially when it's reciting the Quran, or hymning the praises of God, or praising the Prophet, things of that nature. So then what they're doing is they're reminding you of Allah, or reminding you of the Prophet. This is something which is instrumental in literally every aspect of the Muslim's life, is they're constantly are supposed to remind themselves of this trip, that they're returning, that this life is short, that this life is only, you are only a wayfarer, you are only a traveler. In fact, that's mentioned in hadith, that you don't live here. This is not your earth. This is just a path that you're crossing. Your home is Jannah. Your abode is heaven, because the Muslims' belief is that the soul itself is created, but it's never destroyed. So this is an unusual creation. Most creations will be destroyed. The human soul is rare in that it is created but never destroyed. It will live for eternity. So therefore, anything which is reminding the human of God, anything which is reminding the human of the hereafter is a good thing. Anything which is making him forget, whether it's watching, you know, even a football game for hours and hours and hours, or whatever it might be, anything which is turning him away from that is not considered as a good thing, because it's detracting him from his journey or her journey back to God, back to Allah. And so that's why always you'll find, for example, you know, especially young people, they'll recite the Quran melodiously. I would try my best, but my voice is very croaky and I'm an old man. So I would, you know, it's not good. Everybody would quickly switch off and go. So, you know, if somebody had a sweeter voice than me, somebody was much younger than me, and they recite the Quran. Many people say when they go to, say, Morocco for holidays, or go somewhere to a Muslim country and they hear the adhan the first time, they find it very peaceful. They find it very spiritual. So these are the sorts of music, if I can use that phrase, that is encouraged. That is so that people are kind of connecting with God, being reminded of God, rather than something which is kind of human-made, which is more pushing a person away from that kind of spiritual enlightenment and spiritual reflection and spiritual understanding.
And so it's a very good subject, and it reminds me that that music can be an instrument, literally, for peace, as in Daniel Barenboim's East-West Divan Orchestra, which brings together Israelis, Palestinians, Iranians, Egyptians, Syrians, and the attention behind that is to create a community of people who politically may be at odds with each other, but music is a unifying factor.